Welcome back, amazing thinkers. I'm Sue Sabella, your Great Minds teacher. Let's see what we need for today. Today you'll need handout 29B, the informative writing checklist, handout 30A, which is an evidence organizer, assessment 29, which is the focusing question task that you already completed, assessment 30, the end of module task, your journal, and your pencil. So please pause here to gather what you need and just hit play when you're ready to continue. Here's the essential question. This big question has guided our thinking throughout Module 1. Read the question to yourself or read it out loud to me. How does change impact people in nature? You'll be using all of the knowledge that you have gained throughout Module 1 to answer this question. To get ready to answer the essential question, it's important to think back on all the books that you've read. It's also a good idea to go back to your journal. That's where your thinking is about all the books that you've read in this module. So your journal is a great source of information. It can help you think about what you've learned about change. Let's read the question together. How do the module texts build my knowledge of the essential question? Please pause here to grab your journal and your pencil and just hit play when you're ready to continue. In your journal, you're going to have a chance to reflect, to think about how much you have learned about change. The first question that we're going to think about is, what is the most interesting thing you have learned about change? To help me think about that, I'm going to go back into my journal and I'm going to read over the what I know and what I can do charts that I completed. And I'm going to really focus on the what I know column. When I come across something that's related or connected to change, I'm going to read that very closely. Like right here in my journal, I found something that I wrote about the little yellow leaf and change. I'm going to circle that in my journal, and I'm going to keep reading and looking for everything that I learned about change. And then I'm going to go back and reread those, and I'm going to put a star next to the one that I think is most interesting that I'd like to share in my journal. I'd like you to pause here to look back through your journal. Either circle or highlight or put a check by everything that you have down about change. And then pick the one that's most interesting to help you answer this question. I'd like you to pause here so you can answer this question in your journal. What is the most interesting thing you have learned about change? And then just hit play when you're ready to continue. Now it's time to answer question number 2. What have you learned to do that makes you proud? What I would do if I was answering this question, I would go back into my journal again to the what I know and what I can do chart, and I would look at what I can do now. I've been jotting things down all through Module 1. What you can do is look through your list at all the things you can do now and pick the one that makes you most proud. And I want you to add that to your journal. Pause here to look through your journal at the what I can do side and then answer question number 2. Be sure to write your answer in a complete sentence. Just hit play when you're ready to continue. It is definitely time for a stretch break. Take a break, take some deep breaths, and when you come on back, just hit play. Please pause here to grab handout 29B, the informative writing checklist, and your paragraph from assessment 29, the focusing question task. Be sure to also grab your pencil and then just hit play when you're ready to continue. Today you'll be using the informative writing checklist to improve your paragraph. We'll focus on just a few sections. We will focus on the reading comprehension section and also the structure section. Let's take a closer look at those sections. In the reading comprehension section, it says, I understand how changes in fall impact plants or animals. When you review your paragraph, you need to make sure that you're showing that you do understand how changes in fall impact plants or animals. And remember the columns. The self column is for you, and the column all the way to the right is for your classroom teacher. You've worked a great deal with writing structure. The first item is, I introduce the topic with a topic statement. The next item is, I include at least 3 sentences with evidence. The next item is, I use sequencing words, first, then, and finally, in the correct order. The last item in this section is I conclude the paragraph with a conclusion. When you reread your paragraph, you're checking to see if all of these items are in your paragraph. If they are, you're putting a plus sign in the column next to that item. If they're not there yet, you'll put a triangle. And that's something that you can work to improve. Let's check out this paragraph with the informative writing checklist. The first item on the checklist is reading comprehension. I understand how changes in fall impact plants or animals. To be able to know if I have that in my paragraph, I need to reread the whole paragraph. And I need to ask myself, does this paragraph show how changes in fall impact plants or animals? So I'd like you to pause here and read over my paragraph. Should I put a plus or should I put a triangle? Think about that while you're reading, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue. This paragraph describes the cycle of the seasons and what happens to plants during the cycle. So this paragraph does show how changes in fall impact plants. So we can put a plus in the self column. This paragraph introduces the topic with a topic statement. The topic is sky tree and how it changes during the cycle of seasons. This paragraph also has at least 3 sentences with evidence. As I read through the evidence, I also notice that this paragraph has the sequencing words first, then, and finally, and they're in correct order. Even though I have extra sentences with evidence, I can still see the sequencing words in order. After the last piece of evidence, I should see a conclusion. But I don't. That is something that I'm missing. I don't have it yet. That's something that I can improve. So I'm going to put a triangle here because this is something that I can add to my informative paragraph. I remember that the conclusion should remind the reader about the topic of the paragraph. Also, my evidence relates to the topic and it helps develop my points. So I could put a plus sign there as well. Now it's your turn. You'll complete the informative writing checklist for your paragraph, and then you'll revise your paragraph to improve it. Pause here to work, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue. You've been working very hard. Please feel free to take a stretch break, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue. You'll be completing Assessment 30, the end of module task with your classroom teacher. But I'd like to take a few minutes to review the directions with you. So please pause here to grab Assessment 30 end of module task, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue. In the end of module task, you'll be applying all that you've learned from the module in this task. Please look at page 1 of Assessment 30, and let's take a look at the situation, your task, and what you need to do to complete this task. The situation. The school library needs some more informational text on changes in fall. Our class has been asked to create a book to meet this need. Your task. You are invited to be a contributing author to the Changes in Fall informational text for the school library. Everyone's paragraph will be used for a chapter in the book. What do you need to do to complete this task? Write an informative paragraph in response to the question. How do changes in weather impact plants or animals in fall? Since you're completing the end of module task with your teacher will go over the directions checklist with you in detail. But I wanted to draw your attention to number 2. After you pick one category to write about, either plants or animals, you'll make an evidence organizer, and you'll find evidence from 2 texts. After you choose your focus of plants or animals, then you'll choose your two texts. Under text 1, write the name of your text, and under text 2, write the name there of your second text. Then pull your evidence from one text at a time. Begin with the first text. Gather evidence to show a change in weather, and then the impact that that change has. Then move on to the next text and repeat the same thing. Look for the change in the weather and the impact that that change has. Then you would have your evidence for your informative paragraph. Don't forget to write down the page numbers. That way you can refer back to your evidence as you need to. You'll be completing Assessment 30, the end of module task, with your classroom teacher. It's your chance to be an author and to contribute to a book. I wish I could read what you're going to contribute because I know it is going to be amazing. How does change impact people and nature? That's a huge question. And it's a question that you thought deeply about. You read books, you analyzed art, you practiced your writing, you shared your knowledge with others. You, my friend, are changing so much every single day, and I'm very proud of you. I can't wait to explore another big question with you soon. I will see you then.